start studying about this portion. You know, yesterday we have seen about the valence bond theory. So let us look at the various limitations of the valence bond theory. That valence bond theory is based on the assumptions. It does not give quantitative interaction about the magnetic data. It does not say much about the color, why the coordination compounds show color. It does not say anything about stability like kinetic or thermodynamic stability. The valence bond theory does not predict that why various kinds of shapes are so, you know, why the tetrahedral shape or square planar shape, why they are there in the same four coordination number and how they differ from each other at the same time. It does not, valence bond theory does not even distinguish between the strong and weak ligand. So, even we have studied about the magnetic properties. So we know that when uh, the compound has unpaired electrons, they have some magnetic properties, and these magnetic properties generally are based on the number of unpaired electron. If if there are unpaired electron, we can say that they have. If there are unpaired electron, we can say that they are paramagnetic in nature, and if we do not have unpaired electron, or if a compound does not have any unpaired electron, it is diamagnetic in nature. If a compound is paramagnetic in nature, the spin only magnetic momentum can be calculated, that is depending upon the number of unpaired electron. If number of unpaired electron is 1, mu b is equal to 1 by 73. If the number of electron is 2, it is 2.84. If it is 3, then it is 3.87 Bohr magneton. If it is 4, then the mu b will be 4.90 bm. And if the number of unpaired electron are 5, then mu b would be 5.92. So now, my dear students, we will study about the crystal field theory. Crystal field theory is an electrostatic model which considers the metal ligand bond to be ionic, arising purely from the electrostatic interaction between the metal ion and the ligand. So, ligand are treated as a point charges in case of the anions, and ligands are treated as a dipole in case of the neutral ligand. So if ligands are anions, they are treated as a point charges, but if they are neutral molecules, they are treated as a dipole. 5d orbitals in an isolated gaseous metal atom or isolated gaseous metal ion have same energy. This is how they are known as the degenerate. So when orbitals have same energy, they are said to be degenerate. It means these 5d orbitals are degenerate because they have the same energy. This degeneracy is maintained if spherically symmetrical field of negative charges surround the metal atom or metal ion, and these negative charges combine with the primary valency of the metal. However, if the negative field is due to the ligand, but if the ligand attacks and they have the negative charges, it means either anions or negative end of the dipolar molecule. Dipolar molecule are the neutral molecule which have the negative pole and positive pole, which is found is coordinate compounds or complexes. So negative field become asymmetrical if the negative field is because of the ion or because of the dipole negative end, and then the degeneracy of the d orbital is lifted. Lifted means their energy increases. This results in the splitting of d orbital. So this is how, my dear students, the d orbital have been splitted. The pattern of splitting of d orbital depends upon the nature of crystal field. So that is what we are going to study, how this splitting takes place. Uh, we shall study the crystal field splitting into the octahedral coordination entities as well as the tetrahedral coordination entities. So my dear students, we are going to study about the octahedral entities and tetrahedral entities and their splitting. Crystal field splitting in the octahedral coordination entity. Please, my dear students, study it well. It is very important points. In an octahedral coordination entity with 6 ligands surrounding the metal atom or metal ion, there will be repulsion between the electrons in the metal and metal d orbitals and the electrons or negative charges of the ligands. So there will be, when two negative charges come near to each other, they repel each other. This repulsion is observed when you have the electrons present into the metal ions as well as the electrons that are coming from the or the negative charge coming from the ligands. Such repulsion is more when metal d orbital is directed towards the ligand. So if the attack of the ligand and the d orbital present are in the same direction, then the repulsion increases. In octahedral space, 6 ligand attacks the central metal or central metal atom or central metal ion from the direction of axis. So this is what you can see here, my dear students, in this figure. You can see that this is the octahedral compound where you have y-axis, x-axis and z-axis. From the axis, you can see that the L, 6L attacks from minus x and plus x, minus y and plus y, minus z and plus z. You can see I have shown them in the 3 different colors, either red, green or blue. So this ligand, when they attack from the direction of the axis, those orbital which are present into the direction of the axis, they feel repulsion. So orbitals located in between the space of axes, which are dxy, dyz and dzx, these orbital, they do not feel much repulsion, but orbitals located in the axis like dx square minus y square and dz square. So here we can easily understand, my dear students, that ligand attacks from the direction of axis. Ultimately, orbitals along the axis, that is dx square minus y square and dz square, feel more repulsion, and as they feel more repulsion and will be raised in the energy relative to the overall energy. So this dx square minus y square and dz square, their energy increases and they are raised to more energy than the average energy. And orbitals in between the axes, that means dxy, dyz and dzx, their energy will be lowered relative to the average energy in the spherical crystal field. So in the spherical crystal field, these d orbital are being splitted. First their energy is being raised and then they are splitted. When they are splitted, the energy of orbitals which are in the direction of axis, that is dx square minus y square and dz square, their energy is being lifted, whereas the energy of dxy, dyz and dzx which are present in between the gaps of axis, their energy is being decreased. Thus, the degeneracy of d orbital has been removed due to the ligand electron metal electron repulsion in an octahedral complex. T2G are the orbitals which are collectively known as dxy, dyz and dzx. In between the axes are called T2G, e.g. orbitals dx square minus y square, dz square are collectively known as EG. My dear students, here G represents the geometry and it is the word used for the octahedral complexes because these octahedral complexes have a center of symmetry, and that is why we use this G. So we will call them T2G and EG, but in other case we will have a different name. The splitting of the degenerate level due to the presence of ligand in definite geometry is termed as crystal field splitting. This is an important definition, my dear students. You should learn it. Suppose you are asked, what is crystal field splitting? Then we can write the answer that the splitting of degenerate level due to the presence of ligand in the definite geometry is termed as crystal field splitting. The energy separation is denoted by delta O, which is where O represents the octahedral. Now you can see in the figure whatever I have explained. I am going to explain it again through this figure. You can see that we have the energy. If we move upward, the energy increases. We have 5 d orbitals, dx square minus y square, dz square, dxy, dyz and dzx. This orbital in the spherical field of ligand, their energy is being lifted and the degeneracy goes in the same way up energy level, and then in the presence of the ligand, this energy or these orbitals are being splitted, and this splitting of d orbital into 2 groups, T2G and EG takes place. Here you can see I have written barycenter. This barycenter represents the average energy. So the energy of T2G is being decreased. So it is minus 2 by 5 delta O, or you can say minus 0.4 delta O, because sometime instead of 2 by 5 they write 0.4, because 2 by 5, if you multiply the denominator and numerator with 2, you will get 0.4, and the energy of dx square minus y square and dz square have been lifted. This energy is being lifted to 3 by 5 delta O, or we can say it is plus 0.6 delta O. So this is how, my dear students, we can move to 0.6 delta O dx square minus y square and dz square, and this is how the Eg are being lifted to their certain energy level. Now when it comes to the different terms, barycenter, the average d orbital energy in a spherical field is called the barycenter. I have already informed you that barycenter represents the average energy of the d orbital. That means barycenter is equal to average energy. As we can see in the figure or diagram, the lifted energy is split into T2G and EG. Total splitting energy is known as delta O, where O represents the octahedral splitting. From the barycenter, Eg are lifted to 3 by 5 delta O, which is also is equal to 0. This 3 by 5 delta O can also be represented as plus 0.6 delta O, and this is what we can do it for. This is what we can do it for 2.5 delta O. This 2.5 delta O can also be written as minus 0.4 delta O. So this is how, my dear students, we can understand that this 3 by 5 delta O can also be written as 2 by 5 delta O is represented as minus 0.4 delta O, and 3.5 delta O can be represented as 0 plus 0.6 delta O. I hope, my dear students, you can see the changes that I have made, and I hope you understand this concept. Then when we move, then we, so you know, total energy are the energy of Eg and energy of T2G, that is 2.5 delta O plus 3.5 delta O, that is total delta O. So total splitting we represented as a delta O, my dear students, and this is how we truly understand it. So this is how we can understand, my dear students, about the splitting of delta O, that is into the octahedral field. Now we are going to study the crystal field splitting into the tetrahedral coordination entities. You can see here I have shown you the ML4, where M is the central metal atom or ion, and from the space between the axes, 4 ligands attack on the M central metal atom or central metal ion. These four ligands actually attack on it. Now you can understand it easily that when you study this in tetrahedral coordination entity formation, ligands attacks from the space between the axes. So d orbital between the axes. Which are these d orbital between the axes? The d orbital between the axes are the dxy, dyz and dzx. They feel more repulsion, whereas their energy is lifted to 2 by 5 delta O from the barycenter, and the orbitals which are present on the axis, they are dx square minus y square dz square. Their energy is lowered by 3 by 5 delta O, and thus total splitting is equal to 2 by 5 delta t plus 3 by 5 delta t. That means delta t. T here represents the delta tetrahedral splitting, and here instead of T2G and EG, dxy, dyz and dzx are called only T2, and dx square minus y square and dz square is called only E. As this tetrahedral structure do not have center of symmetry, and that is why we do not use G for tetrahedral splitting. Because tetrahedral geometry has no center of symmetry, G stands for the geometry where the Geometry has a center of symmetry, and octahedral shape has a center of symmetry, so we call them T2G and EG. But tetrahedral shape does not have any symmetry, so we just write T2 and E. The splitting into the tetrahedral uh, field is exactly inverse to the splitting into the octahedral field. Again, we can understand the figure that the 5d orbital, the x square minus y square, the z square, the xy, the yz, and the zx, they have been lifted, their degeneracy or the energy have been lifted, and then in the presence of the tetrahedral field there will be splitting. When there is a splitting, uh, T2 orbitals, that is dxy, dyz and dzx, they goes plus 2 by 5 delta t, and this that is dx square minus y square and dz square, they go minus 3 by 5 delta t, and ultimately the total splitting that we can see is known as the delta t, which is known as the tetrahedral splitting. So this is how, my dear students, we can understand the splitting of d orbital into the octahedral field as well as into the tetrahedral field. Now we want to know the relation between the splitting in octahedral field and splitting in tetrahedral field. The relation between the splitting energy of tetrahedral and octahedral can be written as delta T is equal to 4 by 9 delta O, or from this equation, or we can write delta O is equal to 9 by 4 delta T. From this equation we can easily understand that this octahedral splitting energy is always more than the tetrahedral splitting energy, and tetrahedral splitting is less than the octahedral splitting. As we have seen in the crystal field splitting, my dear students, that we have studied about the splitting of energy into splitting energy octahedral and tetrahedral. The value for octahedral or tetrahedral makes a difference when it comes to know about the strength of the ligand. So now we are going to study about the strength of the ligands, my dear students. Strength of the ligand in crystal field splitting, some ligand produce strong field while the other ligand produce the weak field. So some ligand produce strong field, some ligand produce weak field. Let us understand why and how. Ligands can be arranged in this series in the order of increasing field strength. Such a series is termed as a spectrochemical series. My dear students, this definition of spectrochemical series has been asked quite a few times into the board exam. Please learn the definition. I am going to repeat the definition for you once again. Ligands can be arranged in the series of increasing order. Ligands can be arranged in the increasing order of their field strength. Such a series formed is known as, the series formed is known as spectrochemical series. So this is how the ligand arranged in the increasing order of their field strength, the series formed is known as the spectrochemical series. This is how you can remember it for a longer time. Here the various ligands are being arranged in the increasing order of their field strength. I minus is less than Br minus, Br minus is less than SCN minus, SCN minus is less than Cl minus, Cl minus is less than S minus 2, S minus 2 is less than F minus 2, F minus 2 is less than OH minus, OH minus is less than C2O4 minus 2, C2O4 minus 2 is less than H2O, H2O is less than NCS minus, NCS minus is less than EDTA, EDTA is less than NS3, NS3 is less than EN, EN is less than CN minus, CN minus is less than CO. So here you can understand that the most strong field is there with the CO, that is what it is known as the carbonyl ligand, and carbonyl ligand is definitely a strongest ligand among all of them. And I minus would be the weakest ligand among all of them. That is what we can understand. Electrochemical series is an experimental determination or experimental determined series based on the absorption of light by the complexes with the different ligand. Cn minus and CO minus and En always behave as a strong field ligand and cause pairing of electron. So please remember, my dear students, that Cn minus and CO minus will always cause pairing of electron. Same way, NH3 sometimes behaves as a strong ligand, whereas sometimes it behaves as a weak ligand. Whereas all the other ligands, they behave mostly as a weak ligand and do not cause pairing. Sometimes H2O may cause pairing, or else otherwise there are not much ligand, not much compound where even H2O cause pairing. These compounds we will study in detail. All the rest of the ligand behave as a weak ligand. Now let us understand what is strong field ligand and how does it affect the various uh, parameters for related to the uh, coordination compounds. For a strong field ligand, please remember that delta O is greater than P. So if the octahedral splitting is more than P, that is pairing energy, there will be pairing takes place into the d orbital. Octahedral splitting energy is more than the pairing energy, and thus it causes pairing, and thus when pairing takes place, we will get inner complexes with the hybridization D2sp3. So inner complex means D2sp3 hybridization, and as D2sp3 hybridization, or as the splitting, as the pairing takes place, the plus 1 by 2 and minus 1 by 2 effect of spin quantum number is being neutralized, and this is how thus such compounds are known as these low spin complexes, and these low spin complexes are formed due to the inner complexes or D2sp3 hybridization, and the example for such a strong field ligand are the CO and Cn minus. Now we are going to study about the weak field ligand. So for a weak field ligand, delta O is less than P, means the splitting of orbital is smaller, and then there's the splitting and then the pairing does not take place. So octahedral splitting energy is less than the pairing energy, and thus weak field ligand do not cause pairing, and thus they form the outer complex, means they will have the sp3d2 kind of hybridization, and as pairing does not take place, all the spin quantum number are being added to each other, and thus the high spin complex is being formed. The examples of weak field ligand are Cl minus, Br minus, F minus, etc. So this is how, my dear students, we understand about the weak field ligand and strong field ligand. Please keep these ligands in your mind. Calculation shows that D4 to D7 coordination entities are more stable for strong field ligand as compared to the weak field ligand. So if we have 4 electron to 7 electron present into the d orbital for the central metal atom or central metal ion, then these complexes are more stable if there is a pairing takes place, or if there is a strong field ligand is possible. In tetrahedral splitting or tetrahedral complexes, orbital splitting energy are not sufficient. That means delta T is mostly less than P, and that is why the therefore pairing is rare, and thus mostly high spin complexes are formed in case of the tetrahedral complexes. But we will see there are some low spin complexes also are formed. Low spin complexes are rare in case of the tetrahedral. Now we are going to study, like whatever we have studied, now we are going to use all this knowledge, and we will study about about the various complexes. So first we are going to study about CONH36 plus 2. According to the valence bond theory and crystal field theory, in CONH36 plus 3, oxidation state of CO is plus 3. So you can easily understand that NH3 is always 0, so there is no charge, and that is why the oxidation state of cobalt is going to be plus 3. Cobalt atomic number is 27, so argon 3d7 4s2. But for being plus 3, 3 electrons are being removed, so from 4s2 turns 0, and 3d7 turns from 3d7 to 3d6. Now for CO plus 3, we can show that 3d6 has 6 electron filled in them, 4s is 0, 4p is 0. But NH3 behave as a strong ligand. Please remember, my dear students, that in the complex CONH36, NH3 behaves as a strong ligand, and that is why it causes pairing into the 3D. So these 3d6 electrons which are present into the 3ad orbital, they get paired and they just occupy the 3d orbital. Only 3d orbital are being filled. So two 3d orbital are vacant, one 4s orbital is vacant, two 4p orbital are vacant, and thus three 4p orbitals are used, and thus there is a hybridization of D2sp3, and due to this D2sp3 hybridization, the new sp3 D2sp3 6 new D2sp3 orbitals are being formed, where the ammonia molecules or NH3 molecule comes, they put their electron into them, and this is how the molecule or a compound is being formed. And when the compound is formed, it will have D2sp3 hybridization. You can see here I have shown you the shape D2sp3 hybridization, and I have even shown the charge on them. This is what it is, the octahedral shape and D2sp3 hybridization. D2sp3 hybridization is called the inner compound because inner side of d orbital, that is 3d orbital, is being used. It is low spin complex because all the electrons are being paired, or the ligand cause pairing. It is diamagnetic in nature because no unpaired electrons are present, and that is why it is diamagnetic in nature. And here NH3 behaves as a strong ligand, my dear students. So this is how you can understand using the crystal field theory as well as the VB theory as well as the magnetic character about the various compounds. Now we are going to study, or now we will study much more of such examples, and we'll study the CBT or crystal field theory or VB theory combinedly for the various molecules. The next molecule that, or the next coordination compound that we want to study is COF6 minus 3. In COF6 minus 3, my dear students, if you want to find out the oxidation state of cobalt, CO plus 6F minus, that means if you, for CO, if you write X, then X minus 6 is equal to minus 3, and therefore the oxidation state of cobalt is plus 3 in COF6 minus 3, my dear students. So oxidation state of cobalt is plus 3, cobalt Z is equal to 27, so argon 3d7 4s0. When from cobalt it turns into cobalt plus 3, 3 electrons are being removed, so the electronic configuration of cobalt plus 3 would be argon 3d6 4s0 4p0 4d0. 4s0 4p0 4d0 represents that these orbitals are being vacant. So CO plus 3 would be argon 3d6 4s0 4p0 4d0. F minus is a weak ligand. That means the octahedral splitting is more than the pairing energy, and that does not cause any kind of pairing here. So as it does not cause any kind of pairing, my dear students, the electron present into 3d orbital will not undergo a pairing effect, and this 3d6 electron will occupy all 5 orbitals of 3d, and thus the hybridization takes place between the 4s, 4p and 4d. So here sp3d2 kind of hybridization takes place, which is an outer orbital complex. Here you can see that 4 unpaired electrons are present, which increases the total spin, and that is why it is known as the high spin complex. Either the hybridization is sp3d2 or d2sp3, it is always going to be octahedral shape. So we have again COF6 minus 3 will have the octahedral shape. Hybridization is sp3d2. Outer orbital complex, it is high spin complex. 4 unpaired electrons are present, so it is paramagnetic in nature, and mu b value is going to be 4.90 Bohr magneton, my dear students. So this is how we understand the COF6 minus 3. Now the next coordination compound that we want to study about is NiCl4. My dear students, we will study the NiCl4 tomorrow. Now if you have any doubt, you can ask, or you may go to the next class. Dear students, do you have any doubt? Hello, dear student. Have you understood everything?